What is up, everyone? It's your boy, Tony Massey. Welcome to Tony Massey Cooks. If you are watching us on Facebook, you are watching us on my YouTube channel, or if you're watching us from the Tony Massey Cooks group, this is not your regular Tony Massey Cooks show. I am not cooking tonight, at least not in the culinary sense. But I did bring with me 4 chefs of the game, 5 brothers, including myself, who are grown men who are going to chop it up and talk real. We're tired of the manosphere. We're tired of the red pills. We're tired of the ridiculousness. And so we are going to get real. And tonight, we are going to answer the question that keeps getting asked over and over and over again. And that question is, what do you bring to the table? Now, I did get some feedback before I introduce these brothers. I did get popping it up in the shop. All right. The feedback was, Tony, you talking too much. So I'm gonna adjust this week. I'm gonna adjust this week since I'm hosting on my platform. I'm gonna adjust this week and I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I'm gonna try at least and let these other brothers speak. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in order that they're on the screen and let these brothers introduce themselves. If this is your first time at Shop Talk, do not just watch this. There's 2 things I need you to do. Actually, there's 3. 1, I need you to share. Hit that share button. If you're watching, share. If you're watching, somebody else needs to watch too. Number 2, I need you to follow everybody on the screen, because all of these brothers are going to enrich your life. They're going to bring something new and interesting into your life. They're worth following. And then the final thing I'm going to ask is that you don't just be a viewer, be a participant. You hear something you like, let us know. You hear something you don't agree with, let us know. Hit us in the comments. We want this to be interactive. We are constantly being asked, where are the men? Why don't the men speak up? Well, here we are. All right. So, Mr. Tony Watts, please introduce yourself, introduce your platform, let the people know who you are.
I am Tony Watts. I'm the host of Triumphant TV. Triumphant TV is designed to bring every person of color that is doing amazing things, that is not, in the stratosphere, up front, so you can see them and you can know that people are out here doing real work from a mental health standpoint, to a relationship standpoint. I'm also a relationship coach. I also have a practitioner in NLP. So, we do this for real. We don't play around. We're studying every day to get better. And I am so happy to be on a call right now with these 4 gentlemen. I think they are outstanding. Someone called us the Avengers, but that's how it goes.
I think outstanding, Mr. Singletary. Please, yes, sir. Let us know who you are, how we can find you, and all that good stuff.
All right. First of all, man, you was jamming. You could have went about another minute or 2 with that intro music. I was feeling that.
I'm trying to keep up with relationship gumbo.
All right, there you go. Y'all putting the pressure on me, man. Y'all putting the pressure on me. But I'm John Singletary. I am the host of the Help Myself podcast. My podcast is about professional and personal development, how you can be the absolute best version of yourself and coming together, to see people living their best life. I'm also a 22-year Air Force veteran, but most importantly, I am the father of John Singletary Jr. We affectionately call him LJ. That's my autism superhero. We say it all the time. He has autism, but autism doesn't have him. So Amen. I'm just glad to be here on this platform with these brothers sharing and chopping it up.
That's what's up, bro. Mr. the Gunson Man himself.
Yeah, man. How's it going? How's it going? That's right. Hey, guys, I am Gunter Man from Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. I am the host of the Gunter Man Show on Instagram Live every Thursday night at 7:30. So please come on, check me out at Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. I'm a relationship life coach. My show is simply all about allowing people to see other aspects of living, how to love themselves in a better way, how to live the truest version of themselves. As I always say, we only know what we know. And what we know isn't everything there is to know. So I share what I know, they share what they know, and together we all grow. Gunman.
That's what's up. And my unofficial, he don't know it yet, but he's my unofficial mentor for this internet game.
That's right. Yeah, tell him, D.
The relationship gumbo. Tell us who you are, brother.
Gunter Man got bars, man. I'm gonna have to try to follow that now. My name is Derek Jones, and I'm also a life and relationship coach. And I am the host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast that airs every week, Wednesday nights. I do coaching, but I'm also an engineer, so I like to pick apart things and see how they work, especially your relationships, and try to put those puzzle pieces together and try to see the things that you normally don't see, the little things. So, yeah, I'm just here because in a testament to why I even joined these guys is we see a lot of stuff out here that just ain't right. And so we trying to work together and collaborate and make this thing do what it do. So that's all I got.
That's what's up. So again, follow all of these brothers on social media. Make sure that you're following them so you don't miss out on their content. Their content is great. So tonight we are going to answer the question, what do you bring to the table? Now, before we get started, brothers, there was a video a young lady did on TikTok that we all had some comments about. I want to show that video real quick and make that the basis of our conversation, because I think the conversations need to be balanced, right? I know how I feel. I have an idea about how you feel, but let's hear it from a young lady who put it out there, and hopefully I can get this right. Let's see here. Can we see that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So I hear a lot of men asking, well, what do you bring to the table? And women are now so attractive and, making money and all these things. So we feel like, well, that automatically makes me a good catch. Look at me, I'm attractive and I make some money. Do you understand that even if you have a good paying job, a man will walk past your six-figure making self and as attractive as you are and go to the muggly girl at Burger King because she knew how to be his piece and how to give him what he really was looking for? It doesn't matter what you make. Men don't care. When men ask you, what do you bring to the table? They're simply asking, do you know how to be my peace? Will you listen to me? Will you encourage me? Will you help me to pursue my dreams and to be a better man and a human being? Are you compassionate? Are you kind? Are you loving? Are you nurturing? Will you pray with me? Will you pray for me? I'm out here fighting the world. I don't want to come home and fight with you too. If I'm going to fight, I hope that you'll fight with me and fight for me. Are you going to be everything that I need? Because at the end of the day, what I'm really looking for is peace and stability. They will walk past everything if you're not that.
So what do we think? Is she right? Is she close? What is that what we mean when we ask, what do you bring to the table?
All right, I'll start. So I feel a couple ways about this. Because my first trigger with this for me is the fact that a man even asked this question up front. But if I had to ask it, I think a lot of times, and women get triggered by this too, of course, hence the need to even do this. But I think when a man asks this, and I'm saying this very loosely because I don't agree with it, but I'm gonna speak to it. A lot of times the pushback is that women will give their whole resume of their accolades, their school, their resume, and all of this stuff. And they'll say, this is what they're bringing to the table. Or they'll say, I am the table, right? And and so this young lady kind of came at it from a different perspective, which speaks to the needs of men. So I think it was very eloquently stated. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna kind of step off the mic, but I think humans men and women can say whatever they want to say. It's the evaluation of their behavior that dictates whether what they're bringing to the table or not, like in real life. So I'm gonna just leave that there.
Well, I'll follow Mr. Derek Jones on that one. And I'm kind of almost 100% online with him. I think this whole table thing needs to be thrown in the garbage, just from the standpoint of, if you don't know each other, how will you know what you bring to the table anyway? Like, how am I actually what you bring to the table? We've been on 2 dates. I haven't gotten past your security yet. Like, so how am I even gonna know? So my whole thing is take the whole table off the conversation, because once you navigate to figure out who you are and who I am, we should be able to come to some agreement of what we want, and that creates the table. I think, and it just popped in my head, how do we create the table? Let's go. I'm done. I'm good.
My man said, I'm done. I'm done. I think, there's some validity to what she's saying. I just think that if we could take the adversarial nature out of this whole thing, I mean, that's a intimate, honorable thing to share a table with somebody. And obviously, whenever you meet, like, if me and Tony, 1 million watts, we met up, we wouldn't start at the table. We'd meet somewhere in public. I'd be like, hey, come by the house, man. We'll catch a meal. We'll start in the foyer, maybe get to the living room, and then we get to the table, and then we share something intimate. So I think when we talk about the table, man, it shouldn't be like we coming here for battle. If I want to go to war, I got tools of war, but I'm not trying to bring those to the table. So if we could take that element out of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling what John Singletary said. Whenever I think of the statement, it automatically connotes some type of negative energy. It has me thinking more than negative, because if you really are having feelings for someone, the only time you'll ever think about saying, what do you bring to the table, is because you've been in the game for a little bit and now you're mad for some reason. Now you want to say, well, I bring all this. So what do you bring? It's like some bit of an argument. The only other time I can think of what do you bring to the table coming out of someone close to my family or myself mouth, it would be like my parents. Like, this girl that you're dealing with, what's up with that? Like, what does she bring to the table? That's what registers for me. So in both scenarios, they're negative. They have a negative feel to it, because if you're really feeling somebody, you don't care what they bring to the table. You should be so sound at what you bring to the table that you're not looking for someone else to bring something to the table. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, that I should be so rooted and grounded in loving my life, happiness, joy, peace, and I'm just simply looking for someone to add to that, to bring more of that, to guide me, to, like I shared last week about those blind spots in my life, to help me navigate in a much more effective, efficient, more productive way. And you're a bonus. You're a bonus to the things that I'm trying to do in my life. That's how I see it.
I totally agree with you. Erica Warren says the statement sounds confrontational. I agree, Erica. It does. And of course, we have a lot of people checking in. I don't want to miss anyone. Latasha Carpenter, thank you for checking in. Quincy Shelton, appreciate you, brother. Spin City Heirs, Lalita Maharaj checking in. So I agree with Erica. It does. It sounds confrontational. It sounds like you're almost saying, I know what I have. Do you have anything? Right? I know what I have to barter with. What do you have to barter with? And it's such a disingenuous question, because let's say, and I understand where the sister was going with the video. I had a problem with the video because she's saying that here are all the things that a man wants. He wants you to be his peace. He wants you to pray with him. He wants you to pray for him. He wants you to do this, that, and the third. But then we lose sight of leadership. And this is my issue with men critiquing the behavior of women. You can create you can have a peaceful woman and put her in a chaotic environment, and she will not display peaceful behavior or characteristics. Everyone has a breaking point. I mean, I'm sure there were times even Martin Luther King was like, I ain't got no more cheeks to turn, bro. You know what I mean? So we can't, I don't like this idea that we are trying to convince women that this is the way you need to be when you show up. When I say hello to you, when I introduce myself, when I buy that first drink, you need to be agreeable. You need to be non-confrontational. You need to be fit and feminine and all these things. But yet, are you maintaining an environment? Are you creating an environment where all of that could be maintained if that's what she comes with? I'm of the opinion of, instead of asking a woman, what do you bring to the table? Make sure the woman understand what you have already on the table. Because if you have your stuff together, if you handling your business, then she don't need to bring too much to the table.
Imagine
Maybe
that.
what she needs to do is take care of the things that you've already put on the table. Look, I got the knives, I got the forks, I got the spoons, I got everything. All I need you to do is take care of it. All I need you to do is care for it in the same way that I have. But when you ask a woman out the gate, so what do you bring? What's like, to me, it's the same question as what is the value or what does a man get out of marriage? Nothing. And if you're going into a marriage thinking that you're going to get something, marriage ain't for you. Marriage is not quid pro quo. You don't get something because you gave something. Sometimes you give and you don't get anything. Sometimes you receive without giving anything. It's not 50-50. It's 90-10. It's 40-60. Sometimes it don't even equal 100. It's 30-20.
As they say to me, marriage is that great revealer. Marriage is a great revealer.
Absolutely. As brother shouting out Rick, love that, Rick. Shannon Nelson says, "Amen, Tony." Miss Erica Warren says, "If we're both coming to the table to serve, then everybody go." Come on, man. Say that.
Yeah.
Say that. If we're both coming to the table to serve, then everybody gets fed. I love that. I love that, Erica. Shout out to you.
My mindset is like I would want a woman that's confrontational at times. I want someone to check me hard. I want someone to bring to me, if they have to shake me, rock me, knock me over my head, to pay attention lovingly, of course, to let me say, pay attention, babe. That's not you.
Yeah.
I want someone brave enough. I don't want some humble. No. I want someone to check me when I'm off.
Right. Yeah. I want to add something real quick to this too. Because I consume probably too much of this content, good and bad, and a lot of it, to the credit of like what a lot of us do on this format, I information gather so that I can understand. I like to keep my ear to the street, but where this question takes me, because in the context of what the stuff we're seeing that's like really prevalent online, it's a man asking it to a woman. It's almost kind of like, to me, it's almost kind of, well, two points I want to make, and then I'll yield the mic. The first thing is, it's almost like the guy sitting back like this saying, "Tap dance for me. Let me see what you got, and then I'll think about whether you're worthy of my time."
Bark like a dog.
It's an insult. and the second point I want to make is, when the reason why things like this are coming about now is that we have these generations now that are afraid to risk. They don't want risk, so they want you to tell them up front that they're going to be okay and safe, and everything's going to be, the end result is going to be exactly what I want it to be. And life doesn't work that way. Everything, all the moves that we see out here, 50-50, share this, do this, and I don't know, it's all because they're afraid that if they give up something, they're going to be vulnerable and then somebody's going to get them. So tell me everything you got so I can make an assessment on whether it's worth me potentially being hurt later, or you got to be made up of something so that when things happen, that you can bounce back, so you can keep moving, because you ain't gonna just go meet one person and that's gonna be the end of it. So it's yeah.
Yeah, I'm 100% behind you on that one because I just wrote those two things down. To follow, I'm gonna follow Tony first and then come behind Derek. If you're not, no, I'm sorry, Rick. If you're not, a female should be my wise counsel. She should be able to, like Rick said, if you're not confrontational sometime, if you can't check me on my BS at times, then that's a problem. Like I can't be the sounding board all the time. I can't be as the leader, right? Let's say the leader. That's a heavy crown to carry alone. Like when God made a helpmate, and if we go into the word helpmate and you break it down for what it is, when you look through the Bible, I can't think of the exact word right now, but I'll get it to Tone so you can put it in the description of the YouTube and the Facebook. But it means to go to battle with. Every time the word helpmate came up, God was sending someone to help you fight, right? So when we look at that, when we ask somebody what they bring to the table, if you're not trying to help me fight, then what are we doing? We can't get anywhere. If you're not willing to tell me, yo, you've been playing that PlayStation too long, and I can't really evaluate that. Yeah, I've been on here for 5 hours, and I've spent no time with you. I've been with my boys. Like, we've got to grow up. And going to Derek's point, it is fear. It has to be fear. Why are you asking these questions within the first month of you guys talking? Like, did you meet and say, hey, I like you, so I'm going to marry you? And then you guys, if that's the conversation, then okay, fine. Then I guess you can ask those questions. What's your credit score, and like what you got, like what you got in the bank? I guess you can ask those questions at that point. But if you're not doing the actual work to understand where this person is coming from, because if this person is coming from a place of hurt, so there's going to be fear, especially if they was in a long-term relationship and that dissolved for whatever terrible reason that it could have happened, they're going to be very apprehensive to get to know you. Or if they consume this information that's on the internet right now, telling them that they have to bring something to the table, right? Because this is the shaping of young minds. When I was looking into this topic, I saw a lot of. I think more of the problem is the younger generations is having a really tough time with this, because what I'm seeing is young men are really asking that question because young men have holding on to this high value man thing and thinking they have to have so much to get a girl. So if you and you thinking that all girls want to do, all women want to do is take your money and go out on dates with you. Like, if that's all you think that all the women do, then you need to really reevaluate the fishing hole that you're fishing in, because that's not life.
And real quick before the men that are afraid to get their money taken, they not. they might be clearing an amount that they don't really have nothing to take. I'm gonna just leave it there. It doesn't even compute. Like regular average making wage men are like, what if she gonna get me for all my money?
Right.
I don't.
and I think that's an important distinction, because we do have these brothers who are going hard in the paint over this concept of, a woman has to be this and a woman has to be that, and you got to meet me halfway and blah, 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 blah. Okay, that means you're not where you want to be yet. Your issue isn't women. Your issue is you. You see this as a potential loss and not a potential gain. I wish that men understood that your best self can potentially be discovered, cultivated, nurtured, and brought to fruition by a woman. Because when, we talked about this last week, when you date someone, that's when you really get a chance to meet you for the first time. And your idiosyncrasies, your behavior, your attitude, all of these things are not being seen through the prism of your inability to see your own flaws, right?
Correct.
So here's this person that comes along that is going to improve you by showing you that you're not all you thought you were. And I think it's hilarious that brothers who are not where they want to be yet are the most fearful of walking into dating situations, terrified that somebody bro, don't nobody want your money, man. I mean, you're not at that level. Like when some brothers would call a woman gold digger, and I don't mean this as disrespect. You got to have gold first. I mean,
there you go.
You're not worthy of getting played yet because you don't have anything. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about just the place in life where you reach, where you feel, secure in who you are, and that's what shines through. And I feel so bad that so many brothers are so threatened by women with educations and women with money that they don't understand that if you find a woman who knows, who owns her own home, has her own car, has checked all these boxes, and you haven't yet, and she's willing to look past all that because she genuinely likes you, you've just found a quicker path to where you want to go, because she's going to help you get to where you want to go faster. But you're so intimidated by her because she's done something that you haven't done yet, that now you're going to be combative towards her because you're going to feel like she's controlling you. She has her own house. No, she's not. You're not there yet, and this isn't bashing men. This is about getting brothers to understand. And like you said, we're talking about the young men. And I think that's an important distinction. And it hurts my heart when older men play into this ridiculous concept of bringing something to the table, because damn well in your heyday, you weren't bringing anything. You didn't have a table to bring anything to. But yet you found somebody who looked past all that and helped you get to where you wanted to go, or help you get to where you wanted to be. Going back to the garden, Adam had everything. I mean, he had dominion. He had a job. He had a house. He had responsibilities. He had purpose. He had everything. But yet God said, it is not good for you to be alone. So I'm not going to just send you a companion. I'm not going to send you a wife. I'm not going to send you somebody to kick it with. I'm not going to send you a friend. I'm going to send you a help meet. Like Tony Watts says, someone who is going to be battle ready for you. So when your back is against the wall, because I've always said, and then I'll shut up. When we talk about having my back, right? To me, a true couple doesn't stand, together facing the same direction. A true couple stands back to back. And that means that I can, and my face is always towards the danger, the obvious danger. My wife is standing behind me, not following me, because behind every good man is a good woman. She's not following me. She's facing the other direction. Because as I walk towards my future, the most vulnerable thing that a man could ever face is his past. Because that's where all his secrets lie. That's where all his failure lies. That's where all his, his stupid things that he did, all of that is back there. And when your past creeps up on you, whether it be some woman from back in the day, some mistake you made from back in the, when you have somebody who's watching your back that way, she can prepare you for what's coming in your peripherals and behind you. But you're trying so hard for her to turn around and follow you. One, you don't know where the hell you're going. And two, nobody's watching your back. She's just behind you. That's not leadership. Leadership is getting the most out of someone by inspiring them to give the most. That's where I want my wife. That's why I tell her everything. We don't have no secrets because we can't afford to. I can't afford to build a legacy with someone only for something that she didn't know to come along and topple it. That's why she's facing that direction.
What's powerful about your example, Tony, is the fact that when you're facing back to back, the woman behind you, you believe you as the man, you have a 360-degree cover. You are covered 360. So you're not even checking on her. She's got it handled. She can handle her business. She's a warrior. That's right. She can handle her business. So
Yeah.
when you're moving, when you're taking those steps, it's with confidence, because we all have a past. We all have a past that want to somehow, some way creep up on us. But the truth is, so many of us men, say men of their 40s and 50s and 60s, that we're of the age where they're still trying to find themselves now. These questions like this pop up because men that are 40 and 50 are still trying to find themselves. Unlike our parents who had a solid job at age maybe 30, late 20s, 30, and they've been doing it for 30 years after that. So here's the stability, here's the instability in the men today, where they're looking at their own dads who are in their 40s and 50s who still are searching to find something cool to do or that's going to bring in some type of wealth. They're still, so they have that example that not even dad is like stable. So before I get into a situation, I'm going to ask these dumb questions. I'm going to ask, because if dad's not stable, that's the example for me. So most likely, I'm not even stable at this time.
Right.
So that's where that fear comes in, that you don't even have that great example of the person who is supposed to be your template on how to be a man, how to take care of situations. You know, the highest rate of divorce right now are people age 45 and up.
Yep.
Because the kids are now old enough to go their own way. And now you're like, now you got to meet back again with the person that you married. And like, I don't even know you anymore. I don't even know you anymore. I don't want to live like this anymore. You don't want to live like this. Let's go our own way. Like, huh? So all that. So, you know, you have a couple that's disconnected. Your kid is disconnected. You're not rooted and grounded. Your kids are going to grow up not rooted and grounded. So what does it lead to? It leads to questions and comments like this, where you're asking the question because you are not enough. You feel that you're not enough. That's why you're asking the question. You're asking the question because you might not be able to hold it down all by yourself. And that's where that fear creeps in. You know, and a lot of times, once again, you get cocky and arrogant with the little stuff you have. So you'll ask the questions like, what do you bring to the table? It's not a nice thing. You're saying, what do you bring to the table? I do this, this, this. I bring this, this, this. But that's just kind of proven whenever you got to list things off, you're not even confident about it. So let's repeat that. Remember, whenever us men get in trouble, what do we do to our wives? What do we do to our girl? Well, babe, what are you talking about? You know, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. Right? We run off our little list. And what is that saying? That, but babe, there's things I'm saying that I got you, but even I, with me pointing out my list, I'm not actually confident in my list either.
Absolutely.
That's strong,
This is Shop Talk. If you're just joining us, thank you for joining us. This is Five Brothers Without an Agenda, chopping it up about manhood, talking about trying to battle the ridiculous notions that are out there about men. Thank you so much for the comments. I do want to go back and revisit some of these because I think they were all good, really good. Alicia Dove Jones said, how do you learn lessons if you never take a risk? I totally agree with that. And here's the funny thing. Most men are willing to take risks in business. They're willing to take risks with their money as long as, you know, they're willing to take what they feel are, you know, educated risk or calculated risk when it comes to, you know, investing and things of that nature. But then when it comes to their heart, we want guarantees, right? Spin City says you must do the inner work to show up in your true authenticity. This is so true. There's so many of us that show up to relationships broken, and we're looking for someone to heal us and someone to make us whole. You know, I hate that concept that you complete me. No, you don't. You complement me. I'm already complete. Only God can do that. And once you start making someone your God, whew, man, I ain't even want to go there.
Yeah, but that's a really good point, Tony. Let's push that a little further.
Yeah,
think about
absolutely.
it. If you are looking for another person to be your joy, to be your happiness, to bring you peace, to be your sense of I'm okay now. you are heaping on that person a responsibility that they can never, ever fulfill. They can never carry that. Never carry that. You
And
are
it's
bound
so
to fail.
it's so intrusive. Be my peace. That means when I battle the world and I come home scarred and broken and bleeding and all this other stuff, your job is now to put me back together. So when do you get to heal? You keep pouring into me, pouring into me, pouring into me. And now I'm just leaving you empty because at some point you have no more to give. I don't need you to be my peace. I need you to help maintain the peace that I've created within myself and my creator. I don't want to be in a peaceful, and this is why you got to cut toxic people out your life, because you don't want to create peace. You know, you've done the work, and now you go back into these spaces where the toxicity is overwhelming, and now you're sucked back into that place. So I don't need you to be my peace. I just need you to help me maintain the peace that I've found within myself. Fiel, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering your name, says, correct. The word of God speaks about a man who finds a wife, he finds a good thing. You first must see the worth in yourself to appreciate the worth of a woman. That is so true. And that table going to be full together. Absolutely. I love that. Fiel also says boyhood, manhood, fatherhood. That's in that order. This is why boys shouldn't be having children. You need to be a man first. You cannot put the cart before the horse. We don't need children raising children. My wifey says this is good stuff. All of you are teaching. Lolita says back-to-back allows us to handle past, present, and future as a unit without question or second thought. Absolutely. Because you talked about that trust, Gunner. You're right. The trust that I have in her, that I don't have to worry about what's coming behind me, is also the trust she has in me, that she can walk backwards knowing that I'm going to lead and not lead her astray.
Say that again. Repeat that again.
She doesn't have to see the road. She doesn't have to see where we're going. All she has to do is follow. But I have to create within her that trust. That means I got to come home. When I said I was going to come home, that means I can't have relationships, friends and all this other. No, be trustworthy. And you don't have to ask a woman to submit, in my opinion.
Derek, we're gonna have to steal the conversation, pull it over to our side.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to read the comments. Bring it all over this. I'm gonna read the comments and I'm gonna shut up. I said I was gonna shut up this time. Okay. Ebony says it's dope to hear a thought, all perspectives. She also says it's dope. Oh, she says it's dope hearing y'all perspective. Latasha let us know she's already shared. Thank you. If you're watching, please share, please like, please subscribe. I'm already complete. You complete me, Ebony says. Absolutely. Erica says dating from a scarcity mindset creates this fear of losing in a relationship instead of thinking of how we can grow and add value to each other. Tashura says she agrees. So, all right, let me stop. Go ahead. John, you got this, baby.
I'm after John.
It's gonna put me on the spot. I was just clowning, man. You
don't want me to go? I can go.
Y'all two are on it. That's why we were being quiet, because y'all was saying what needed to be said. We come into these relationships. You talk about a table. It's a consumer mindset. When I go to the store and buy my shoes, I want my shoes blue. I want my shirt to fit a certain way. But the blessing of finding your compliment in a woman is that she sets your soul on fire, and exposes you to something. Here's one of the mistakes we make. When you talk about the table and I want this and I want that, where you're going in a relationship has not been created yet. So you're trying to set the parameter based on what you once were. But that relationship should be taking you to what you should be, not how you used to be, because what you used to be isn't enough to take you where you need to go. So when we talk about the table, when we talk about I want this, this, and that, we don't even know. If we would get out of the habit of putting people in boxes and experience them and see what they bring, we would find out how much that would open us to our purpose, our destiny, all of that stuff. But we get closed up in how we want people to look and how we want it to feel and all this, that, and the other. And we're actually, what we're doing is we're cheating ourselves. We're cheating ourselves. It's on you, Derek.
Man, you had all that to say. You had all that to say. You should have told me to shut up a long time ago. If I knew you was gonna say all that.
It's on our side now. It's on this side now.
The right side of the screen for the win. So look, so I wanted to bring in, like, I wanted to peel at least one layer back, and talk about the emotional side of this, right? Because we talked about, and let's keep it real. This question, from what I'm seeing, it's only going in one direction, right? It's going from the man to the woman. So if we can say factually that this has to come from a place of fear, this has to come from a place of not wanting to be vulnerable to attack and all these other things. When you peel back the layer, and this is something that, you know, that if you ever have had a successful long-term relationship or even a marriage, this is one thing that you have to know for sure from the emotional side of this. When we say things like, I need you to be my peace, I need you to have my back, I need someone that's going to nurture me and do all of these things, what we don't realize as men a lot of times is that the same emotions that we accuse women of having, we have the same emotions. They just don't look the same. We fear things. We worry about things. We feel like we want to cry, even though we may not show it to you. The emotions are very similar. They just look different. And maybe sometimes the way you handle them looks a little different. So when you say, I need you to be my peace, serve me, there's also another human being that needs to have a peaceful life as well. And I think sometimes we forget about that. Like, you take a woman who's being your peace and she comes into a house where you're creating chaos. Her life isn't peaceful either. And we have to remember, as we're sitting on these, and I'm talking about this question, it triggers me. As you can tell, it's coming from a place.
Heck yeah, I can feel it.
And the reason why is because, you know, as a relationship coach, and those of you, and even like the conversations that we have with women, when you actually sit back and listen, the things that a lot of men say they require, and you sitting back, like I said earlier, and you like, perform for me, give me peace, give me this and give me that. What is she getting out of the deal? Because it can't just be money. It can't just be a house. And so if you really look at, because, you know, as a relationship coach, is that me? And even like I hear echo conversations that we have with women, when you actually sit back and listen. Is that me? Hello?
Go say it. When you sit back and listen, we can hear you.
That was Tony Watts. You good?
Okay, cool. When we sit back and realize that this is something that the relationship is something that has to kind of mesh together, and there's certain things that you're going to have to serve and certain things she's going to have to serve, and it works in unison, then the sitting back and watching her perform, if she going to perform, you got to perform too, brother. It's not, this is how long-term relationships sustain themselves. These things that we hear, that I hear all the time, where it's this big war, these are single people. These are young single people saying, I need you to tap dance for me before I show you my hand. And it becomes this battle that never turns into anything substantial, because you never took the time to grow anything. You always worrying about keeping tally on it. I always tell people, as a married man, we're not sitting at home tallying up how many points you got. Oh, you got more than me. Nah, we got to make it balanced. We do what makes it work. And if you're dating and you're single, and when you date for what you perceive as what you want versus dating for what you need, then it's always going to be a disaster. Because this whole question right here, it's really shallow, because there's no way you can really know. There's no way you can know on the first conversation or the second conversation or even the third or fourth month. You got to watch the behavior, and that will dictate what it is. Like I said earlier, if you're not doing that, this is some performative Mickey Mouse show that means absolutely nothing to the whole relationship. And it's like, what are we doing? So when the woman gives you the side eye, you deserve that.
Yeah, so I want to, I appreciate everything you just said, bro. I guess I'm the middle of the room. So I want to back up and go back to what Derek talked about the table before. What happens is when you start comparing what everybody's bringing to the table, you're actually in competition with each other. And how can you actually have a successful team if you're fighting against each other? Now, don't get me wrong. There's healthy competition, right? Hey, hun, I just got this. I just got the promotion. I know you about to get yours. Let's figure out how to, write this proposal so you can get better. Yes, but if I'm just taking like, we're keeping like Derek just said, everybody's just keeping score. Then you are in competition, and the competition will breed resentment, especially if one side is winning all the time. You know what I mean? Like in the today's society we live in, women have a better chance of doing certain things, right? So if you got to take the back seat, so you came in with all the cash, you're doing all your thing, and all of a sudden she's making $84 billion. Like, what do you do? Like now your table's broken, right? Your table's different now. So how do you navigate through that? So you got to be very careful of how you come into competition. Remember, there's healthy competition when you're supporting each other, and there's toxic competition when you start resenting each other behind closed doors. But I believe also there needs to be an equal amount of peace, like when you come through the door. There needs to be an equal amount of peace. Like there should be conversation during the day. You should know in the morning when they have this big proposal coming up, and the boss has been pretty tough, or the kids has been this, and you can kind of navigate how to let me go take care of this. Let me go take care of that. Like, we need to do that. That's how you get peace. Like Tony said, one person can't be everybody's peace. Somebody's gonna lose their mind. So, like I said in the beginning, let's just destroy the table and build from there. Let's build the table, not bring the table to the relationship.
Absolutely. So let's get through some of these comments, and I'll hold my commentary.
Why? No, bad, bro.
No, you can go back, yo.
Don't stop being yourself, bro. Come on.
Yeah,
Go.
Don't pay no attention.
I'll go. Because John said some stuff. I'm ready to joke.
Yeah, man. Yeah. This, if you're just joining us, this is Shop Talk, five brothers without an agenda, making sense of the madness out there, talking about relationships. Tonight's topic is, what do you bring to the table? The question is the topic, not the actual conversation, because I think we all agree that is a ridiculous question that doesn't need to be asked. Tashura says some women don't know the difference in peace and peace.
Ooh.
Yeah, when she posted that, I was cracking up, man.
Man, come on. Because there comes a point, and this is why we have to get our young men to recognize the difference between love and sex. Because there comes a point where sex is not enough. It just is. And if all you have to offer me is sex, then what happens when what happens when our clothes are on? What happens when we're done? Then what? There has to be intimacy built in other rooms in the house, and the table shouldn't even be in the bedroom. I'm gonna leave that there. All right, Spin City. Spin City says yes, but y'all have to clearly communicate that. And I think she was talking about when you were talking, Derek, and I agree. As men, we do have to get better at communicating clearly our expectations. But ladies, I do need you to understand, and this is not an excuse; it's a reason. We were not. Even a man brought up in the most progressive household is not taught how to express his emotions without there being a consequence. We're taught to hold everything in because that is being tough, right? And I made it my business to make sure my son always knew that if you can laugh, then you can cry. You need to be able to express how you feel. And we explored that question, how are you feeling? And that was so important for us because I never wanted him to feel like I can't say how I feel because I got to be tough. Erica says, this new generation is trying to condense timelines and create these microwavable relationships. We need to bring back crockpot love. Yes, absolutely.
I like that.
I love that because here's the thing. If you're not rushing the timeline, then you don't have to ask what you bring to the table. Just sit down at the table and see what she shows up with.
Heck yeah. You know, that makes me think about what John was saying about when you get into a relationship, you don't know what the outcome, where it's going to take you.
Right.
I define love as love is nurturing another into new possibilities. So when you're in a relationship, you don't know where it's going to take you. You just don't know. But the more you set up an environment for love to exist, for a person to be themselves, as I posted earlier, you know, be you, and I'm not going to kick you when you're not like me. You know, that mindset, you know, I want you to be the real you, but when you're not like me, I'm going to give you some blowback. No, you're supposed to be nurturing an environment because she is going to bring out something. Together, you are going to bring out something that you have never manifested before, you have never seen before. See, so often when you're a kid, it's like when you talk to God. You know, when you talk to God, when you're a kid, you're always saying, God, give me this, God, give me that, God, give me this, God, give me that. When you're a man, it changes. You say, God, make me something, make me something. And that's what we're looking for in a woman. Someone that's not, don't give me what you bring to the table, because I'm going to give me. No, I want help to make me something greater than I am. You can see the depths of who I am, and you're going to dig out, chisel away, help me fight back that enemy, the enemy that's the enemy. Help me fight that back so that you can help me shape the world that we live in a way that makes a difference, not only to me, but to you. You should be able to be rejoicing. Like, you're going to help me live this life, and I should be setting up an environment that your life is so amazing also.
I love it, brother. I love it.
So I want to put this on the table. On the table.
So you said blew up the table.
Yeah, but is this generation looking at the table as a material place? Because there's a difference what we're talking about versus what I think they're talking about, right? So that's why I'm presenting the question. Is the younger generation or those who bring up the table topic looking for financial, how big the house is going to be, how many cars we're going to have in the garage, how many vacations we going on? Is that what they mean when they say bring to the table? Because, like I said, I was watching a couple of videos today, and some of the things I saw, I was like, oh my God. So
I can't help but wonder if they're being influenced by the idea, because if that was the case, then you would want a woman who is financially secure, or a woman who has the ability, based on her education, her experience, whatever. You would be looking for that type of person. So I don't know. I don't know if these young kids are looking for someone who is going to increase their financial status, or if they're believing the idea that as a man, I need to be the leader and in charge day one, without proving myself, without seeing my resume, without just by virtue of me being born a man or being born male, that makes me a man. And I think that's unfortunate, because that message is so skewed. It took me a long time to get to manhood, man. A long time. And I'm telling you, I took the long way. I took the scenic route. A couple of times I went the wrong way. Like, my GPS was like rerouting.
You got there, son? We'll talk after, man. I need some roadmaps and guidance.
Bro, I'm telling you, and you laugh. I had the big atlas, the fold away map.
we all gonna try to get told after this. Man, help us.
And I think some of these comments speak to that. Tashura said they don't want to take the time to build a solid foundation and wonder why the house falls when the first hard wind blows. They don't want to work. And I agree with that, because we are, and I'm guilty of it as a father. We are raising a generation of people who have a sense of entitlement. They think that because they do something should happen. They believe in this concept that I did this, where's my reward? You know,
participation trophies.
Huh?
Participation trophies.
Yeah, everyone gets a trophy. Yeah, everyone gets a trophy. And the reality is that not everyone gets a trophy. Hell, the reality is that the winner doesn't always get a trophy. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? You won, but that doesn't mean you don't walk away with scars, right? You know, I've been in combat on three separate occasions. There's no, you know, I don't hold myself in a high regard because I came home, because I know there are people that didn't. And so was their life greater than mine, or what, you know? So I think that our generation, we made the mistake of teaching our kids that if you do this, this would happen. And the reality is you could do all, because our parents told us something different. Our parents told us, you got to be 110% better just to be seen as regular. Where I feel like we're telling our kids, do your best and the best will come. That's not true. Yeah, that's not always true, you know.
Yeah.
Fiel says communication is key. Lalita says the what you or I bring should be replaced by what we can create at the table together that will be the best of both of us. I like that. Spin City says, I disagree. It's not always the young people. There are people in our age bracket that are stuck in their stunted emotional age and communicate from their unhealed trauma age. That's
right.
Can I speak to that real quick?
Yes, let's pause there. There's a whole word
I want to speak to that real quick because I know what triggered. That's my girl. I know what triggered her to say that. And I want to quantify like two things, and then I'm gonna yield the mic. It's 80-year-old men out here that are not effective communicators and have trauma. What I'm more speaking to today is about this particular question and the rise of popularity of it lately. Normally, when we see it online on the internet, it is young men, but that doesn't skirt the fact that there are older men that have dysfunctional emotional trauma and all of that. But what's making this stuff popular now? To answer Tony Watt's question about is this like a monetary thing? So this is in another testament to why we even created this, because I keep my ear to the street, the internet streets. This comes from the manosphere. This comes from this whole high value man thing, and the origin of this in its current state, because maybe over the decades it probably looked like something else, but right now in its present state, it comes from the fact of if you're high value, you got money. So when you meet a woman, you're supposed to say, I don't care about your education. What are you bringing to the table? Because I'm already up here. And so it's almost a bait question, right? I'm expecting you, because I know women are out here working. I'm expecting you to come out your mouth and tell me what you've done, right? So that when you do that, I can automatically say, hi, you didn't even know I don't even care about that. I need to hear about the other stuff. And the woman's like, what did you want to hear? And then he could come back and say, I wanted you to be my piece. But since that didn't come out your mouth first, then maybe you're not the woman for me. It's a bait and switch so that he can still feel his superiority over the woman. It makes no sense. That's where this comes from. It has nothing to do with money. It comes from a place of, I want you to perform for me. And if you don't do it right, you don't deserve me because I'm up here.
Hey, Kennedy Corner came in the comments and said, "You ain't finna just dump on the young folks." So, you know,
yeah, I mean,
I see you. That's a good point right there. You know, it's some old school players out there. They not on the internet because they don't know how to get on, but they just yeah. So Kennedy's Corner said he ain't going for that.
He's telling me he's a brother out there with a flip phone,
Come
just
on
waxing
now.
poetic.
He out there talking about, hey girl, I hear nothing lasts forever. Can I be your nothing? You know,
oh my God!
Hey, I got all the
tables. Yeah, I love it. Erica Warren says, "What do you bring to the table?" Translates into, "What can you do for me?" Yes,
yep. That
is very concise. Yep. What can you do for me? Tashura says, "You already know how I feel about this." LS Burke Halter says, Erica Warren, that part, crockpot love it. I love that too. Vera says, good evening, Vera. Thank you for joining us. Tashura says, yep, for some, it's what you can do for me while I do nothing. That part. I don't understand the concept of negotiating without first finding out what you have to negotiate with. To me, that question should be, if you're going to ask the question, here's what I bring. Now, how do you match me? Or what else do you bring? But it's never asked that way. It's always I think, Derek, you spoke on something that's very true, that it's manipulation, because it doesn't matter what you say, it's going to be wrong, right?
Yep.
Because it incenses me that a brother is going to say, I don't care about your money, but let's go 50-50. Well, then you do care.
There it is.
Then you care. Erica says, yes, Tony, I think they're negotiating relationship like a business deal. Absolutely. Tony, that was right, man. Like we have commodified women to the point where we're comparing them to objects like cars and things of that nature. Women are not objects. Women hold value to the man who values the woman. It does not matter how old she is. It doesn't matter how many children she has. It doesn't matter how much weight she gains. If you have value to me, then you will hold that value to me. But to this idea that you lose value based on these extrinsic things, it's just silly to me. Let's see. Vera says this is a good conversation. Thank you, Vera, for joining us. Kennedy's Corner. Hi, young peep here. I can answer that. It's about control, codependency, or abandonment issues. On the contrary, we are the first generation to fully express our emotions. We are getting the help you couldn't. Okay. I feel like shots were fired.
No. But there's truth to that. Yeah. Because the youth, the age now, they're more open. Like when back in our days, if you heard therapy, you're like taboo. Now kids, they're willing to sit and talk. Like when we think about our elders taught what they were taught, and that man being a man, not showing emotions, there's a disconnect there, meaning that when a man starts to when a man gets to the place in his mindset where he's like, I really want to be with this woman, and I'm going to share these inner depths of me. Sometimes the women back then was like, you too clingy, you too emotional. Like, wait, so even the women have adapted that manhood is quiet, don't share his emotions and all that stuff. But the truth is, like Derek said, we feel the pain too. We go through issues too. We've been traumatized too. As the kid said, the abandonment issues are very real. And we carry this into our kids. We pass it on to them without ever dealing with it for ourselves. So how we never dealt with it for ourselves, how are we teaching them the better way? How
Absolutely.
are we teaching them the better way? Like you guys are military men. In order for you to be called brave or courageous, you had to put yourself in a vulnerable position. You had to put yourself in a high risk, could be taken out position. But yet, for a man to be vulnerable with his emotions, as Tony Massey said, now you're like, whoa, hey. So what happened to the courage when you're trying to sacrifice your life for another? And why is it not courageous now when you're willing to share your innermost feelings with another person with the hopes of being understood?
Good stuff. Fiel, and I know I'm messing this.
No, Fiel is right. You're saying her name correctly.
Fiel? Okay, thank you, Jesus Lord. The reward for passing second grade is third grade. You get more work, not less. Yes. A job well done means more work. If you do a good job at work and they say, all right, go ahead, go home for the rest of the day, you didn't do a good job. Latasha says, really Latasha says, please don't let any man ask me this question. My ears are not to the internet streets. Erica says, put your number in my flip phone, girl. Absolutely. Tashura says, you ask me what I bring to the table. My response is the chairs. So you can sit your arse down. Okay.
Whoa.
Asking me what I bring to the table when it's owned by Rent-A-Center. See, now what you not gonna do? I got 4 more payments on this table. It's gonna be mine. You're gonna say it clown me on my Rent-A-Center account.
Just because it's an 80-inch don't mean it's not mine.
Right, exactly. It's both of ours. Spin City says the elder said just pray it away, God will fix it. Going with that mess. And you know, I don't want to go too deep into this because I don't want to offend anyone, but it's true that in the Black community we use the church as a crutch sometimes to deal with painful problems that we don't want to talk about. And so we throw the Bible at it, where the reality is that, you know, God is not monolithic in his approach, right? There's more than one way of healing. And sometimes he will send you a psychiatrist. You know, God bless my mind. Okay, here's a psychiatrist. Bless my eyes. Here's an ophthalmologist. You know what I mean? We can't just pray and then, you know, do nothing. You know, we have to, you know, we have to act and accept what God has given us.
Faith without works is dead.
It's dead. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Tashura says, yeah. Okay. What if the table and his mom's?
I feel some jab pain in my ribs right now. My ribs are hurting right now.
Yo, Tashira, it's still a table though.
It's still a table. It was my grandmother's table. I do want to pose a question to the group as men.
Go for it.
When it comes to this idea that, you know, we are ready for marriage, for you, or even being in a relationship, not even marriage, I'm ready to get into a relationship. For you, what does that look like at this point in your life? Not what it has looked like in the past, or what the world says it looks like, or what, you know, the manosphere says it looks like. For you, if you were to enter into a relationship today, how would you define yourself as ready?
Let's go, John.
You're asking all these hard questions, man. I wasn't prepared. You should have gave me some study notes. I want to pass the test. Hard questions.
All right. You didn't pull my arm.
I brought a damn table. That's what I.
Yeah. You see what? Well, Natasha Carpenter has a similar question, but we'll get to that after this. I think
Can
the me now. Go ahead, Gunter Man.
No, please, go.
No, I would just say for me.
Time out, John. Were you finished? Were you going to answer that
question?
question?
Oh yeah, John.
Y'all gonna let me live, all right? Y'all gonna let me live.
But it is a difficult question.
You shouldn't be answering this question.
Yeah, and I do want to at least say to Kennedy's Corner, being a young peep, we appreciate that energy, man. Like we need that too. Like we all up here, you know, of a certain age, and we definitely appreciate you coming on. I just wanted to make that point because we do need to hear from the younger generation too, because that's one of the primary reasons why we're here is to try to push the narrative for them as well. But to Tony's question, like for me, the me now, if I had to start a relationship today, my readiness really has to me is quantified by just being at a place where I know I'm self-aware enough to not be swayed by the distractions that are around me like they had in the past, and not really knowing the direction that I wanted my life to go in and where a woman would fit. Because if I didn't know that, when I'm on the date, I wouldn't know how to show up. I wouldn't know what questions to ask. I wouldn't know how to vet her out and to be in a space where not only am I comfortable, but she's comfortable. And then we move forward from that point and try to, I'm a very big proponent on growing a relationship versus existing in one. Because I've done the time served thing before, like, oh, we've been together for 2 years and we haven't grown. I will never do that. Well, I won't now because I got wifey for lifey. But I'm saying if I was a single dude, that definitely the qualifiers would look a little different because I know where I want to grow from. And if she wasn't to do that, then cool, you know, then we on an even stake. So that's the growth point for me.
Hey, Gunner, man, we need you to represent. They eating me up in the comments right now, man.
No.
They being real disrespectful.
Right. You gotta understand that question will always give a single guy pause. But if we don't have somewhat of an answer for it, how are we going to expect it to come our way? How are we expecting? See, being single, the benefit of being single is that it's only you and God right now. It's you and God marching and taking on the world. You're taking on the world with you and God. No other responsibilities other than you and God. That's it. You're marching. So what you're doing at this singleness, in your singleness, you're finding your purpose and you're seeking after living it. So how are you getting ready for the relationship? Is that you're at a place of peace and you're at a consistent rhythm with God. You and God are getting things done. Stumbling blocks fall, but you pick yourself up and you keep on marching, because oftentimes when rough patches come, you're looking to blame someone else. But when you're single, there is no one else to blame but you. So if you could pick yourself up and not get into the habit of blaming this one, blaming that one, oh, my mom and dad didn't do this, and this, no, it's you and God, it's you and God. It's I can do this. You're developing the mindset of I can do. So at that point, you know that you're at a place of graduating from second grade to third grade, you're ready for more work. That's when you know you're ready to take on that wife. So when you're ready to connect with someone, and dating is about gathering what? Data. You're dating to gather data. So you're going to use that information between you and God, your you and God relationship. That relationship, you're going to use that as the template on how you're going to deal with the woman, how you're going to deal and how you're going to interact and how you're going to address, how you're going to resolve, because that's what you're doing. You're looking for opportunities. As Tony Massey said, that in relationships, that it's you getting to see you, because your eyes don't see you. Your eyes do not see you. You see everyone else, so it's easier to point out. Like, for those people that always could give good advice, but they don't do it themselves, because you can't see you. You can't see how you're operating. But when you connect with someone, they're going to reflect back to you what you're putting out. And you have to see them as opportunities to learn about yourself. Don't get all pissed and all huffy. Oh, this and that. You told me. No, see it as an opportunity to learn stuff about yourself. How are you showing up in situations? So as a single man looking for a wife, I want to keep running with God until I'm like, I'm at a real good pace and space and place with God moving. And now I'm ready to graduate. I'm ready for more. I'm ready to take, because I'm not going to look her to be my joy. I'm not looking for her to be my peace. I'm not looking for her to bring me some type of stability. No, I'm looking for her to bring me to the next level. Watch my blind spots. Help me through her examples, through her life, to encourage me, to inspire me. Yes, I want a woman that's going to inspire me for more greater things. Like I said, nurturing an individual to new possibilities. So you don't know what the outcome's going to be. So don't be setting your ways. Oh, you need to be this way. You need to be that way. I bring this to the table. So no, I'm going to hold fast because I'm good here. No. Let all that stuff go, because all that stuff has already gotten to the place where you are single again. All that attitude has got you back to the place where the very best of you has caused you to be single. I'm just saying. That's it. So now you're looking for the new possibilities, and the new possibility is found in the woman that's perfectly aligned with you. Not saying perfect as far as perfect in the way you have your list of things that she has to have. No. Alignment means that she can help you seek your purpose, achieve purpose, and now even to see things in greater ways and greater heights. That's what a single man ready to connect with a woman, that's what he's feeling at that moment.
Let's go, Rick.
I got one small statement to say. Ladies and gentlemen, the doors of the church are open.
Yes.
They beat me up in the comments. I gotta
John.
We're gonna be passing that collection plate. right
Pass
now.
it.
We're going to pass
Pass
the
it.
plate right now.
We gonna have a
Country man, what?
we have a guest pastor from Greater Antioch, John's Secretary coming up. We gonna follow up what Pastor said.
Yeah, because Rick, as you were going through that, I kept going back to what I said earlier. We need to really get off this table thing, right? Because when you show up, unlike Rick said, you need to show up. You're bringing also your baggage to the table. You're bringing your past hurts to the table. You're bringing all those ideas of who you think the past people you dated to the table. You're bringing the broken you to the table. So how are you expecting somebody else not to bring the same thing to the table? Are you going to sit down together and try to sparse out? Oh, you got to hold this broken thing of mine. Don't touch that because this hurts a certain way, so I can't have that. Like, you really have to do a certain type of work to be ready to even sit down and negotiate with somebody to talk about what that future life looks like, man. Rick, you killed it, baby.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Said, the doors of the church. We have altar call right now.
Right.
Go get my holy oil.
Thank
Is
you.
there one?
Appreciate it. But I'm living it. That's why I'm living it. You know, it takes the chord. It's like, I'm single. I want to get married. But if I don't know what I want, how am I ever going to get? How am I ever going to get? If I'm not operating at that frequency, how am I going to attract that?
Yeah.
It can't be found in a person. It has to be you and your higher power. It has to be that connection.
Well, and you spoke on something that I think is so important, where we got to get rid, even the lists, we got to get rid of them because we're limiting God.
Right.
You know, I have this whole idea of what I think I want, but the woman that I'm married to now, come on, that was not on my list. She exceeds every she has things that I didn't even know was an option. Mm-hmm. They come with those. I didn't even know that was an option. So it's just like, you know, at some point you just have to surrender to the idea that, you know what, God knows my heart. He created me. So here's what I want. I want to be happy. I want to be my most unapologetic self in my brokenness, in my healing, in everything. And I want someone who's going to hold me accountable, not to them, but to me. And I think that's key.
That's what you said you're going to do, so get it done.
Right. This is the man you introduced me to. Be that man. Be consistent. So if you're not flowers every day, don't start it. If you're not, I love you every day, don't start it. If you're not gonna write me poetry every day, don't write me a poem. Be consistent, because I'm gonna hold you accountable. I'm gonna hold you to the standard that you set. And so, you know, that took some time for me to get there. You know what I mean? And I think that part is very important.
Tony, if you want to pose the question Alicia Jones is asking.
I do. I don't want to.
Yeah, we've given John enough time. We've had some time to.
We ain't give him a chance. I don't want to mute the brother. You know, I am not in the business of taking a black man's voice. You know what I mean?
Hey man, I live around the corner from you, man. Don't make me come see you.
I ain't worried about it because when you get here,
bring a bottle with you, brother. Bring a bottle.
Hey, I'm not worried about it because when you get here, you ain't gonna say nothing.
I ain't even gonna leave the house. You got that all wrong. I ain't going nowhere, man.
Alicia Jones, she poses a very good question that I think is worth talking about. What advice would you give young men who aren't spiritual? A lot of them don't have the foundation that we had. Just curious. Great question.
I think take everything Rick said and just do it from a finding yourself standpoint. I think Rick's put everything in the right perspective. It's a shame that, you know, you don't have that higher power to look for, because, you know, that having something to fall back on that's higher than yourself is pretty important. And I do understand that this generation is unfortunately trying to fix themselves through themselves. Yeah. So how can broken pieces fix broken pieces? But, you know, that's a different topic. But like Rick said, just work on yourself. Seek a counselor. Really be able to deal with yourself, to say, this last relationship I was in, I was hurt. I don't like the way I show up in certain spaces. Have real friends. You gotta have real friends. You gotta have friends that's gonna tell you on that BS, bro. You gotta have real friends. If you don't have real friends, you're in a bad position. You're in a very bad position, because you can bounce ideas off your real friends, and your real friends will tell you when you're out of line. So you need to have that. That's pretty important as
well. When it comes to kids that are not spiritual, you're always going to have a master. There is always going to be something that you're going to follow. Whether you believe in a higher power or not, there's something that there are situations that you're going to believe a particular thing based on how you were raised, based on your experiences. So if you minus the higher power, you now, as the individual who has an opportunity to speak to the kid, becomes the higher power. You're going to be that sound reason. You're going to show up, because most kids nowadays, in order for them to connect with you, before you talk about this, and that, they need to know that you really care. They need to know that they can trust the things that you're saying based on them watching your life, not by simply hearing the things that are coming out your mouth. So when you're dealing with young men who don't have that foundation of God or whatever the higher power is you follow, you have to be that example. If you're fortunate enough to have a group of kids that you could be close enough, like my nephews and stuff, I want to be that example, that even if you don't believe in God, or you're refusing based on what you've been exposed to, you're choosing not to, then if you're going to follow something, then maybe hopefully you can follow me. That's what this show is all about. We're not just trying to affect men with whatever social media popular thing is out. We're not there to knock that stuff down. We're really just trying to affect generations to come. Like my dad really didn't talk, because his
Said we lost.
Yeah, I think you got a phone call.
Yeah, you got to go out and come back in. It looks like you got a call or something.
Yeah, Rick, go out and come back in. And Erica Warner said something important too, mentorship. While Rick was saying that, I was thinking that as well. Another reason why we're doing this is that so we can give Kennedy a different viewpoint, right? Just something else to look at. If the spaces that we're navigating right now only has this microwave, you got to do this, you got to be that type of information out there. How do you learn without a mentor, right? And sorry for bringing the Bible in that, but that's what I base my life on. You have to have wise counsel.
Right.
You have to have wise counsel. You have to have somebody that's really going to guide you through. Younger, somebody older than you, somebody that's dealt with experience. And I hesitate to say older than you, because there's some people that are younger that have real life experience.
Yep.
And I just want to commend the younger generation. You guys go through far more than we have ever gone through. And that's based on the information that's being thrown at you at one time. So you have a hard time processing all this information, because you're not supposed to get all that much information at one time without being able to process through it logically. So that's why everybody has this roundabout fake truth of what truth is, because there's so much information. Everybody's, truth is just my emotions. No, it's not. Your emotions is true for you. John's emotions is true for him. Tony's emotions is true for him. But facts is facts, and we have to be able to move through life to understand what the real facts are, and that's how we get to get to a point where we're trying to reach. And I think that's pretty important. Rick, you ready?
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. That was I had a client call.
Yeah, we figured.
Where facts.
Where was the journey? Where was I taking you guys?
You was taking us on the journey of young men having a conversation with growing.
Yes. The journey was, like my dad didn't chat with me growing up a lot because his dad didn't chat with him a lot growing up, and then you end up passing these cultural habits down that are not actually benefiting your kids and not benefiting society, and they're not actually benefiting the things that you're trying to see in your own life. So how do you get to a place where you can break those norms? And breaking those norms mean that you're going to have to do some self-discovery. Tony, we talk about this often, Tony Watts, because it's the whys. It's understanding the whys. And when you learn how to break down the why you are the way you are, why you feel the way you feel, why you think the way you feel, why you react the way you react, when you find out those things, it's easier to speak to the young people of today. And when they give you this real surface answer to why they feel the way they feel about their parents or their family or an abandonment issues, you have the depth of knowledge through experience to say that, hey, I know that you think it's this, but it's really comes from things like this. And then they're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And that's how you lend yourself to people, kids of no faith. You're going to become that great example to them of a foundation that they can follow. A foundation they can follow, not to see you as Lord, but a foundation that, like, I see a guy that's actually sharing his feelings. What? And he's not less a man. He's sharing his feeling and not less a man, you know, and to not be so swayed by cultural norms, you know, because the woman who says, you know, you all clingy because you're sharing your emotions. No, no, I'm not. Because clearly, you're not the right person for me, is what you're trying to say. You just shared that you're not the right person for me.
Right.
No, your example of what you think is right and what society says is right doesn't define me, doesn't shape me. And that's what the young kids of today are living. Like, I'm not being defined by what you say. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me. No matter how destructive me is to me, I'm going to still choose to be me.
And let's be realistic about it. You know, we didn't start off on the path. You know, we had to get there. Right. So let's not go at the kids like, oh, this generation don't. We had to discover it too. And they need to get on a path, you know, a path of self-discovery, figuring out who they are. And, you know, when we talk about the path, I think about the path of Emmaus. They were walking with God and didn't realize it. But after they had been with him, they said to themselves, didn't our hearts burn? You know, so you got to get on the path and discover who you are, you know. And so let's not have that attitude that they're lost and that we were lost.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
We had to get on the path. We had to discover. And so the important thing is to get on a path of discovery who you are, you know, before you start talking about tables and what a woman gonna do for you, blah, blah, blah. Get on a path of discovery. Figure out who you are, what you like. A lot of us out here, we don't even know what we like, you know, so discover in the path, and the creator will meet you on the path. And when you feel your heartburn, you know that you're walking in the right path.
I think that's so important what you just said, because we do put a lot of pressure on them to do certain things. And I just want to put it out there as for young people in general, be your authentic self. You don't have to follow the crowds. Be yourself. Learn how to be yourself. And sometimes that's not going to look sexy to some people, but be yourself. If you're comfortable in that space and everybody else don't like it, then that, like Rick said, that particular crowd is not for you.
And I think as older people, we also have to take into consideration that our greatest testimony is the life that we live on a daily basis.
Right.
We can preach all we want to these young kids, these young men, and we can tell them, we can quote the Bible, we can tell them everything to do. But if we're not living it, if we're not actively, you know, showing it in our everyday walk, then, you know, more is caught than taught. You know, it's been proven that their children will imitate before they emulate.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't matter what they're imitating. They're just going to do what you do. And when I say your children, that's the other thing. As men, we have to get away from this this idea that my responsibility is limited to that which I create.
Right.
Maybe financially, sure. But there was a time when we had a communal mindset where the village was not defined by relations, by blood. It was regional. You know, it was, you know, I was raised by my mother's best friends. You know, I had women that I call auntie to this day who we share no blood, because we grew up in a communal mindset, and people just, they took responsibility for one another in a way that they understood that if this young man gets lost, there's the African proverb, the child that is kicked out of the village or ignored by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but you know, it's so important for us as men to do things like this and provide the alternative, because this manosphere thing, it's loud, man. And these brothers are latching onto it, and you hear it. We talked about this a little bit last week, and I don't want to keep berating this, but they're using these terms of endearment and these terms of patriarchy, of patriotism, and elevating people who are not good for them. They're saying things that are counter to what is real, and they're monetizing it. And so these young men are being manipulated into believing that this is what being a man is all about, being the alpha male and being, you know, not crying and not wearing pink and all this other stuff. They ain't got nothing to do with manhood. That is repression, and it's toxic. But yet, because we have not filled that gap, these people can rise to that and manipulate in their fancy suits and all this other stuff, and they're monetizing. It's manipulation, and it's so sad to see. And that's why I fight so hard against it, because I'm not worried about the 35-year-old man that gets manipulated. I'm worried about the 19-year-old kid that doesn't chase his passion. He turns away from his passion because it's not profitable, because he's being told that unless you have $1 million, or unless you make 6 figures, or unless you do this, you're not high value. And I hope that some young man is listening to me right now.
Yes.
Your value is not tied to your pocket. Your value is not tied to your title. Your value is not tied to any of that. Your value is tied to your values.
That's right.
If a man has no values, has no integrity, has no character, I don't care how much money you have. Hell, Trump is rich, but that doesn't make him high value, right? So we got to get to a point where we're providing these young men with a value system where they're not looking at themselves as the biggest things in their universe. Right. If you're the biggest thing in your world is too small. It's too small. Yeah. You got to have something above you, something higher than you. And maybe for some, it's not a deity. Maybe it is just someone that you look up to and that you can depend on. That someone that walks the walk and talks, someone that invests in you without asking for anything. You ain't got to hit the like. You ain't got to pay the Cash App. You ain't got to do none of that. I don't want any of that.
Nope.
All I want is for you to get to where I am faster. Because if you can get to where I am faster, then you can go beyond where I am right now.
That's right.
That's all I want.
That's right.
That's all I need. Right.
Let's go, Tony.
Yeah.
I want to add to that too, real quick. Just to re-emphasize what Tony is saying, and from a slight a perspective of kind of where we are now in 2021, and the reason why we do this, right? The reason why we've done this, just to kind of add a little extra to it. Now we live in an age where people are on their phones, people are on YouTube every day, TikTok every day. And we're consuming all this information. But here's something that I thought about just tonight while we were talking about this. When we look at the manosphere, when we look at all of these different things online that have hundreds and thousands and millions of people buying into it, and I'm not going to skirt the fact that there are some older gentlemen and women that are buying into it, but we want to speak to the generations that we want to try to bring up to Tony's point, bring them up to a point where we are faster. But this is the thing. This is the point I want to make. And to John's point about the younger generation wanting to just be themselves, they're a little more expressive. But even with that, right, we understand as older men that the way that they express themselves, the energy they have, the creativity they have, it's amazing. It's probably more powerful than anything that we've seen in our generation. However, when you look at the behavior of how these people kind of look to these different people online, what it says to me in mass is that even with all the creativity and the individuality, they're looking for leadership.
Yes.
It's a cry for leadership. And it's a testament to why these gentlemen on the screen, we even decided to do this, because we may not always be right, but there's got to be something to balance it out, or else you think that you only have one choice. And I really need the people that's listening to this to understand these young folks, they're free, they're creative, but the behavior is saying number one, we're a collective, right? We're humans. Right. You can try to skirt it all day long. The stuff you see online, these people are following in collective masses, and they're following the same type of, and they're spouting to the title of the show. They're spouting the same stuff that they heard from what they perceive as a leader. They're still, no matter what you think they are or aren't, millennials, Generation Z, they're looking for leadership, and they're expressively crying out for it, especially men. They're crying out for this leadership because maybe they weren't shown how to lead. Maybe they don't know exactly how to do it. So they're looking for it. I don't care what anybody says. This behavior is the proof that even though, and I'm gonna repeat, that we think that these kids are so independent and they're doing them and they're doing all of this, they're still inherently looking to be led. That's right. The point I wanted to make.
Good job there, kid. Good job.
Well, this is Shop Talk. We're at 1 hour and 37 minutes. So I think it's time to go ahead and shut this down. Brothers, I thank you so much for coming on to my platform. I was honored to host another episode of Shop Talk, our second episode. Definitely, we're getting better at this. We're getting better at the conversations, and we are doing something that I feel is very important. To everyone who logged on tonight, who commented, even if you didn't comment, if you just sat there and listened, we appreciate you. We have more likes than we have viewers. That means that everybody did their part, and we appreciate that as well. Please share this video. I'm going to make it available on my page and make it available to these brothers so that they can share it on their platforms as well. My name is Tony Massey. You can find me at Tony Massey Speaks. Also, you can find me at Tony Massey Cooks on all of the social media platforms. I separated my cooking from my speaking, that way that you can come and see me for what you need, not necessarily for what I'm giving. So I'm gonna go around the room and let these brothers again tell you who they are, where you can find them, what they're working on. If you guys got something to promote or whatever the case may be, here's your time to do it. Go for it.
Who want to go first?
I'm Gunter Man from Soapbox Stand Up and Speak. You can reach me at Soapbox Stand Up and Speak on Instagram, as well as Rick Hoven, Gunter Man Gunter on Facebook. Remember, once again, the Gunter Man Show is every Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time on Instagram Live.
Nice. Well, I'm Tony Watts. I'm the host of Triumphant TV. Like I said, it's a collective of a lot of things, but my grounding and reason for doing it is I was driving about a couple of years ago, and everything on the news was negative towards Black people. So Triumphant is showing us at a higher level that if there is more of us doing positive things and wanting to be in positive spaces than are not, and I think it's very important that I show that. Thursday night I'll be on a talk to young men. But I'm not going to over talk Rick Show, because Rick Show is very powerful. As you see him right now, his bubbly self, that smile, that remains there. So go get that. Go get that. He's about relationships for real. Everybody on this panel, I love these guys because they are strong and they really do what they need to be done. So I appreciate each and every one of them. You can follow me on Instagram at I am Tony A. Watts, and from there, if you go to my bio, it'll take you to my YouTube channel. All right. Thanks a lot for joining us.
All right. I'm John Singletary. They didn't forget about me this time. They let me get on. But the Help Myself podcast, man, we drop every Monday night at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time. So we're dropping an episode tonight. You can go to www.thehelpmyselfpodcast. That'll take you to all of my socials. That'll take you. You can purchase my book, The Journey from Fear to Abundant Faith. All of my contact is there. So check me out, man. And I appreciate y'all's support. I appreciate being a part of this great team. You know, the Avengers need a water boy, so I'm here for y'all. I got you.
Never that, bro. You high quality.
That's right. All right. So last but not, well, no, I guess I am last but not least. My name is Derek Jones, and I am the host of the Relationship Gumbo podcast every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And I'm a relationship coach, and I want to champion love. I want to champion relationships, and I want to champion just us as humans, period. Just being together and being communal and collaborating and doing all of these things. Like the gentleman that you see on stage here as a collective, we wasn't friends. Like we literally generally had a purpose and a mission to get this information out, and we just kind of put it together, and it's working because it's no egos up here. We doing what we got to do to try to push the narrative forward and to try to help people. That's the bottom line for this, is to help. So I'm gonna just leave that there. You can find me on Instagram at relationship_gumbo, or you can go to relationshipgumbo.info and you can get all my information there. So that's all I got.
Well, once again, we appreciate everyone for logging on behalf of the Brothers of Shop Talk. Again, thank you. We will see you next week, right? Next week, same time, on Monday night, 8 p.m. It's going to be a different platform. We haven't decided who's going to host yet. But when we do, we'll definitely get to you, get that information to you. So please follow, like, and share. And we'll see you next time.